Okay, everybody should be tuning in here shortly, so we will get started. Hmm.
And then the closing thing is an automatic
Good morning, afternoon, whatever it is.
Talked to me the other day though.
Came in yesterday and tried out class, and so we had you scheduled for this afternoon as well. So I just want to touch base and confirm that, or see when we might be able to get you in again. If you can, give us a ring back. Our phone number here is 770-645-0930. Once again, it's 770-645-0930.
There we go. We're up and running here. We'll have to teach Matt how to use the mute function here. But we caught him leaving a voicemail for a prospect at least, so he's working it. And welcome our friends from North Edge. You guys introduce yourself real quick while I'm getting organized, if you don't mind.
Hey guys, my name is Francesco Frena. I'm one of the co-founders here at North Edge. My partner should be trying to connect any second now. His name is Linus. I'm sure some of you already know of him. Probably already seen him. Hey Matthew. Hey Matt White. What's up? So yeah, some of you might have been familiar with us. I don't know what we're going to be doing on the call. I don't know what the addendum is. Maybe Steven can kick it off, and then we can go from there and teach you guys what we're going to teach you.
I would be delighted to walk you through the agenda here and put you to work as much as I can possibly put you to work there.
Go ahead.
Jessica. So we just had the marketing boot camp, and by the way, welcome, Chris. Good to see your smiling face. Hopefully here.
Chris, turn your camera sideways.
we've got the new video expert there. The reason he's saying that, Chris, is I harass him 24/7 about that. So there you go. But yeah, Francesco, what I was getting ready to say, and we'll try to get rid of whatever background noise we have going on here as well. And Master Moody, good to see you from Memphis.
Hey,
I'm sure the
lights are Q. Got a crew here.
I'm sure the weather is better than Phoenix and not as good as Colorado or Southern California. Anyway, Francesco, we had just had the marketing boot camp this last weekend. As has become our norm, sadly to say, is they won't let me spend as much time on marketing as I would like, because we have a problem with people having too much traffic and having difficulty converting the enrollments. Does everybody agree with that statement generally, that tends to be the problem? And so what we wanted to do is, I promised them we'd spend some time on Facebook as a follow-up. And of course, you know, in a meeting format, it's kind of tough to do some of these technical things. But in this format, we can screen share one thing or another and be very interactive. So I thought this might be a little bit more productive. But one question we have to cover, which we can bounce off each other a little bit, but is Jeff and a number of people, I don't see Travis on the call today, are generating a flood of traffic but having trouble with conversions. So, and Jeff, I'd like to get your feedback on that. But the other two things, specifically, Francesco, that's technical, is I promised them that we would walk them through specifically two things: the create a custom audience of your existing customers, meaning show them how to upload an email list so that they can go target their existing prospects and or their existing students or dropout students. Mm-hmm. The other technical thing that I thought would be better in this format was to show them how to do online with Facebook and perhaps on Google. if we have time, how to do effective retargeting, or in Facebook language, how to create a custom audience of people who have visited their website for that kind of retargeting.
Yeah, 100%.
So those two technical things, I would be happy to abdicate 100% to you. The other one I think is a more complicated conversation. And Jeff, let me ask you this question since you didn't make it to the boot camp. We'll work on getting the audio straight here. But Jeff, on July, how many opt-ins did you get? And then how many enrollments? And if you have the numbers in front of you, about how did those numbers sort out?
I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but I probably got about close to 200 leads from all different sources that came in for July, led to about 45 enrollments.
Okay. And what was the drop off from 200 to 45 enrollments? Where was the challenge? Was the challenge getting an opt-in on the phone, or was the challenge getting an opt-in that made an appointment to show up, or was it?
There was a couple. One was just getting them on the phone, which was always difficult, trying to reach them. We tried text, email as well. And then the other thing is getting them to show up, especially from the Facebook leads. You know, it's a good thing a lot of them come in, because there's, you know, we're trying to, we used to just do one-on-one private intros. Now we schedule 3 or 4 for each hour, because we're realizing that probably 2 of them won't show up at least. Right. So that way we always have somebody within that slot.
Yep. And you missed it, but we spent an awful lot of time talking about that introductory class structure, how to do a group intro versus a single intro. Both for, and Jim, I perceive that when you're in a movie theater, you're out in a marathon, or you're advertising from Facebook, or if you're doing infomercials or 30-second spots, pretty much any kind of broadcast media, they tend to have the same kind of problem with high traffic and fairly high drop-off rate. Jimmy, I think that's you.
Okay.
I'm going to mute you. Yeah, it's fine. I'll just mute you until you have a question to ask. That works. So just feel free to unmute you when you have a question. But my perception is, when I did TV, both 30-second spots and long form, they tended to have the same kind of problems. Flood of calls, but then a lot of them were really weak. But again, what we really care about is managing the flow and your cost per average enrollment. Is that a fair thing to say?
Yes.
And Chris, this is your first meeting. You are all kind of on that smaller end of the spectrum, and I would not recommend you spend a lot of money on Facebook right now. But as soon as we get you to 30,000 gross, or at least over 25, then this is going to become a real important piece of your Parthenon. And before we go further, Chris, you just had a big success last couple of days. Can you tell us briefly about that?
Yeah, I just went to last Friday. I went to local schools, couple of schools, and we had 93 leads. 93 appointments, not the leads. Yeah.
Right. Okay. And you don't have stats on how that's sorted out yet, I imagine.
What do you mean by?
Well, yeah, it's too early to know how many intros have turned from those appointments and how many enrollments, because they're still in the pipeline.
Well, we started first intro classes on Saturday, the day after that. So we got about 8 short of, and out of 8, 2 scheduled yesterday for second lesson. Out of 2, so far 1 enrolled.
Okay. And you have another 80-some intro appointments scheduled for the coming week. Is that right?
Yeah, I say out of 93, about, I sort them out, see what are the good appointments, and I say about 75 should be good appointments. They live close to our school.
Okay, excellent. So let's give you a round of applause for that. Good work taking action. And but Francesco, let me turn it over to you for some technical stuff. Where would you like to start? Those were 2 of, I think, 3 technical things I promised. The third was maybe to spend a little bit more time, which I think you guys are doing a very good job of, that kind of countdown landing page and how to follow up with that. And I had promised I was going to show them a couple things that we have been experimenting with on our end as well.
Sure, 100%. So I think, I don't know how many people were on the last call. So I kind of want to give like a brief overview of exactly what we do, just so everybody's like caught up and whatnot. So hold on, let me just share my screen. We have a little PowerPoint presentation that we whipped up. Hold on just a sec here.
And for everybody, anytime we get technical stuff, we are recording this, so you'll have access to the recording this afternoon.
Yeah, I don't think the technical part is going to be too complicated. Linus, my partner who's on the call right now, is going to walk you guys through on exactly how to, set up your custom audiences. So the cool thing about it is that the retargeting and the custom audiences from past members or whatever the case may be is going to be in the same place, and it's going to be very, very related. So you're kind of get like two birds, one stone kind of thing there. Yeah. So for everybody that wasn't on the call the last time, my name is Francesco. Hi, I'm the co-founder of North Edge. We are a Facebook marketing agency that's been specializing in martial arts schools, helping martial arts schools for the better of the past year. So we're kind of very intimately knowledgeable about, the whole industry and how it all works and whatnot. Now, if you're looking at my screen, this is our PowerPoint presentation. My partner Linus was kind of debating on what the title of the PowerPoint presentation was going to be. I think it kind of speaks for itself, so we just kind of left it blank. So just to introduce ourselves, obviously, my name is Francesco. My partner Linus, if you want to wave, Linus.
Hi, guys.
So because I'm Italian and he's Swedish, we have really weird names. And I think we have even weirder Facebook results because not a lot of people get that kind of results on Facebook, I think. So we've been working in, dozens of industries, including, dating, financial planning, private equity, life coaching. We've done it all in terms of Facebook marketing. And in marketing in general, we were kind of working as marketing consultants before we started the agency. So we kind of have like a really, wide, a wide knowledge base of stuff, when it comes to marketing. And yeah, like I said, we've kind of been focusing on martial arts schools for the better of the past year. So we've become really, really knowledgeable about this industry specifically. And we've kind of been doing Facebook ads since it first started in 2012. So when it started in 2012, we kind of just started because we knew that what the potential was going to be. I think because we're young, we're not exactly wise, but we can kind of see where the trends are going because all of our friends were getting on Facebook. So we kind of saw like all of the people are going to be on here soon. So let's figure out how to advertise on this platform. So when it first started out, we were already on it. We were already advertising on it. So I think we're pretty, I think we're in the top like 98 percentile of people who are intimate and know stuff about, the Facebook ads platform more than other people. So I think that puts us, a bit above the competition because, everybody kind of jumped on the bandwagon, the last couple years, because everybody's talking about, cost per lead and all this other stuff. But we kind of got in ahead of the curve and we used it to our advantage. So just kind of to speak about our results. I mean, a lot of our clients are on this call. I think the results speak for themselves. So if you can see here, we've kind of, attached some screenshots of some of our accounts that we're working on right now, the past 3 days. I don't know why it's all jumbled up, but you can kind of see the results here. We're getting, $20 per lead, $15 per lead, $7 per lead.
So about the screenshots here, I just wanted to point out that
$26 a lead. You think that's good?
Yeah. Right. So what I wanted to point out here is that I wanted to show a wide range.
Because we're doing great.
Who's that?
So, what's that?
Who was that?
Did somebody have a comment?
Somebody had a comment, but we don't know who it was.
Yeah, what I wanted to point out with this screenshot is that there's really a wide range, and a lot of it depends on offers. It depends on geography, things like that. But I wanted to give people an overview of basically where the range is. Like some of these, we're literally getting like $2, $3 leads, all the way up to $25, $30 leads in some cases. And it all depends on your business, like what you're okay with. Let's say you're doing a $20 offer and maybe you're paying $35 a lead, but since everybody who comes in, they're paying $20, that makes sense, economically. I think most of them here are probably in between the $5 to $20 range per lead, and it'll keep going up and down even on a week by week basis. It can be in that whole range, even in the same account. But yeah, this is just a very quick overview of the kind of results that we're getting currently. And I took these screenshots yesterday, so these are past 30 days for a handful of our accounts.
And it seemed like we had a question in the background, but I from what I caught, the question is whether any of these numbers on a cost per lead basis is good or bad. And if we take a look at really all all that we should care about ultimately is how much it costs to enroll a new student and what that new student is going to be worth to the school, right?
Yeah.
And a simple shorthand just to help everybody understand how to think about this. The most profitable school I have ever seen is a close friend of mine. The school was enrolling 22 members a month, doing 110,000 gross a month, netting well over 50,000 a month, and they were spending between $800 and $1,000 to get a new student. And so that ratio is a very good number relative. Now, the cost per lead is what we have to do is we have to translate to, let's take Jeff Patterson's numbers a minute ago. So let's say that Jeff enrolled, let's say it was 30 or 35 people from Facebook.
He said,
He said 45, but that's not from Facebook. That's from everything.
oh, okay.
So Jeff, you're on here still, right?
Yeah,
So Jeff, how many did you enroll from Facebook?
probably 25, maybe 28, somewhere in there.
Okay, so let's say 25. And of that 25, how much did you spend total on Facebook?
Counting my service fee and all that, probably close to $3,000, maybe 28,
Okay.
$3,000, 2,800, $3,000.
And let's say that you're an outlier, but that's less than $150 per enrollment, right? So in fact, it's closer to $100 per enrollment. And when we were talking in Golden about this with multiple different schools doing this, we were coming up with an average of $200, $250 per enrollment. So the issue of, and I'm trying to extrapolate what the question was in the background of cost per lead. Really, what we're concerned about is cost per qualified lead and what the conversion ratios are: conversion to appointment, conversion to intro, conversion to enrollment. And again, in Jeff's case, let me get an exact number. So 25 enrollments. I used to be much better with math in my head.
About $10, Master Oliver.
Right. So $3,000 divided by 25 is 120. So $120 per enrollment. So if I have them paying me $300, $400, $500 down, and lifetime value of $5,000, $6,000, $7,000, I would be begging in all areas to try to figure out how to get more enrollments than $125. Does that make sense to everybody? Before we go further, you got to understand those numbers.
For the benefit of our new members coming in that might not be up to speed on what some of the bigger schools are doing, it cost Chris. How much did it cost you to get those 93 appointments or 93 appointments?
Well, that's apples and oranges because that didn't cost anything. That was a light of it.
In other words, I wanted everybody to know that there's a Parthenon of marketing that we do, and there's a lot of it that costs us none, and then there's others that cost you. So you pick your your sources there based on your budgets.
Well, yeah. Return on investment is the operative. Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt, guys. I just wanted to make sure that we kind of addressed what I think that question was floating in the background.
Yeah. So what I just wanted to, I actually was just getting to that, which is that so much of this depends on your ability to actually convert these people into paying customers, which is why this call should be pretty exciting for most people, since that's what you guys are going to be talking about later. But yeah, we've noticed this ourselves. Like, we look at cost per lead just as a way for us to kind of look at the health of a campaign. Sure. But we've had clients that we've generated like 200 leads for like $5 a pop. And then we get a call all of a sudden and they're like, no, we want to cancel your service. And then we're like, what's going on? Like, we're doing great. But they just aren't able to get people to pay them. So that makes sense. Like, if it's not working out for them on their end. And we've had other clients that have stayed on with us for months and they're paying like $35 a lead, but they're making it work for them. So you can look at cost per lead as it's like a quick indicator for us, but there's much more to that story.
Right. I think just to add to what Linus just said, I think at some point this, looking at past 3-day results is kind of good to look at it on the surface level, right? Because we can look at the cost per lead and we can say, hey, we're getting leads at $5 per lead. At the end of the day, it's kind of disingenuous because we have clients that are doing much better at $30 per lead than we have some clients doing at $5 per lead. So it really, really depends on the school, and it really depends on a multitude of different factors, and exactly how you're going to be making use of these leads. So I think it really depends on a lot of things. But just for our case, because we don't really know what's happening on their end, on our client's end most of the time, I think for us, it's just really great to have an important metric to hold across all of our accounts. And cost per lead is usually the one that we look at the most. It's kind of like our golden metric that we look at. And if we can keep that, in a good range, then we know the campaign is healthy and our clients can make use of the leads that are coming in.
Yeah, and Francesco, just so you know, I mean, our whole conversation with everybody is that on the other end of the spectrum is all service providers lament the fact that the client screws up the traffic once it's handed to them. So we spend a lot of time on how not to fritter away quality prospects.
Yeah, I think we've been kind of blessed in that area, and I think it's thanks to you, Stephen, just because a lot of our clients are they're associated with you as well. So I think they have a much better chance at making these leads work than anybody else. So when we do work with students of yours, and a lot of them are on this call, I think we're truly blessed because they can use the leads that we're giving them, and that's really all that matters to us as an agency because we do work month to month, and our fees are not we don't lock anybody in, so we kind of live and die by our results. And if we can't provide our results, then I kind of go to bed at night thinking about how to keep this cost per lead down. And I wake up thinking about it as well. So it's kind of really it's kind of a relief for us to know that everybody on this call is going to be able to get a chance to learn about how to deal with these leads and how to make money. Because if our clients are making money, then we're making money. Everybody's happy, and we can run a successful business, and they can too. So it's really a blessing in that case.
Yeah, back to you, sir. Didn't mean to interrupt.
So here's what you're about to learn. So I just kind of want to give like a brief overview of exactly what we're doing on these campaigns. I don't want to go through the whole enchilada because we're going to be here all day and all night. We're consistently generating about 50 to 200 leads per month for more martial arts schools all over the world. Literally right now, because we just got a new client over in New Zealand, a gentleman by the name of Grant. You guys might be familiar with him.
He's one of our franchise schools.
Right, exactly. So we're literally international now, so that's great. And then we're also going to show you a simple way to retarget your visitors and boost your return on investment. So what you'll find is that retargeting really cuts that cost per lead down tremendously, just because you're retargeting the same people that have already demonstrated some form of interest. So if they click the ad, right? Let's say we put an ad on Facebook and they click the ad. That for me is a golden sign, because now we know that they are interested in whatever we have to say, right? They're at least shown some form of interest on some level. So that kind of makes them a much better target than whoever we're targeting initially. And then we're going to, I guess Steven's going to go over how to improve your lead to enrollment rate, improving contact numbers and conversion rates. So we're going to be going over that as well. So why this is important to you right now, I think Steven was going over this, just a minute ago. Most about what you've been taught about Facebook is dead wrong. All of your potential students are on Facebook right now. So when we're talking about, what's the best way for a new school or even an existing school to bring in new leads or whatever. Yeah, I mean, you have to think about a multitude of different ways, but I think we have to think about where the trends are going. Everybody is on Facebook right now. So every single person that's in your market, in your area, that they might become a student or whatnot, they're on Facebook. I'm on Facebook. Lena's on Facebook. Everybody's on Facebook. So you have to think about what's that exposure worth to you. I mean, even if we delivered 0 leads, right? Even if we don't have any freaking leads coming in for any of these clients or whatever, you got to think we're getting literally thousands of impressions, thousands of views per month, per campaign. So when you're thinking about that form of exposure, people are getting to know you. People are getting to see your brand. People are getting to, to get familiarized with you guys. That's worth the money of spending Facebook advertising in of itself, I think, because if you're going to take a billboard or even do radio or whatever, you're looking for that exposure, right? You're looking for people to get to know you. And especially since we're concentrated in such a low key area. So we're very, concise in our location. You're getting exposed to most of the people that are in that neighborhood. So I think it's really, really important for everybody to be on Facebook, regardless of if it's a priority, if it's a new school, if it's a low school. I mean, even if you're just dabbling, I think it's really, really important. And another thing is, another little bullet on this slide is, if you don't make the first move on your marketplace, so if you come in second, third, whatever in your area, your competition will win because they have the upper hand on you. So what will happen is, as a campaign matures, right? As a campaign matures, Facebook is kind of like an AI, right? It's an artificial intelligence. It'll go out and it will figure out who exactly is the best person to show an ad to. Now, as a campaign goes on, your results will get better because Facebook has a better idea of who's clicking on your ad and who's signing up as a lead. So if you're not getting that jump and your competitor is, so they're getting that data before you, you're losing because now when you start a campaign, you have to catch up to them in terms of their data because their Facebook pixel, their Facebook campaign is matured. So I think it's really, really important that if you're thinking about getting on Facebook, I think it's, you should do it with the utmost haste because if your competition gets there before you, you're already behind. Not to say that you can't win or you can't beat them, but your chances are substantially reduced. And not only that, but you have to market like it's 2017. We don't, we're in a different age now. Everybody's on their phones. I'm on my phone all day. Everybody's on mobile. Everybody's there. We need to go to where the people are at instead of where they're not. So I think that's really, really important. So is this for you? If you run a school that's doing good and want to take it to the next level, like Steven was just saying, like if you're doing 20, 30K per month in gross revenue, then Facebook is something that you want to add to your repertoire of what you're doing in terms of marketing. If you're trying to grow your school with social media, but don't really know what you're doing, then this is for you. Watch it. I'm going to give you kind of like a brief overview. If you tried Facebook ads before but haven't really been able to make it work, I think it's going to give you a clue on how to make it work. Again, I'm not going to go into the whole enchilada, but I'm going to give you a brief overview of exactly what it is that we do. So the house rules. So there's no free traffic. We don't deal with free traffic. We don't deal with, fan page marketing. We think it's absolute garbage most of the time. A lot of people will accrue a bunch of likes on their page and they think that, they're doing something great. 9.8 times out of 10, those likes are completely useless. And, we don't deal with free traffic. So there's no sit back and do nothing like we're going to go over on this call. Even if you do get a lead, there is going to, even if the system itself is on autopilot, you're still going to have to do work. And, you're still going to have to contact the leads and get these people booked in. And there's still going to be, some work, naturally there's going to be work. And of course, one thing that we speak out against wholeheartedly is that when you look at these campaigns and you look at what you're doing, you're going to want to change things. I do it. Linus does it. Everybody does it. Whatever we're going to talk about on this call, if we're talking to you about it, it's because we've been testing it, for the better part of the year, since 2012, most likely, because, everything that we've learned from all the years that we've been doing this stuff, it translates into what we're doing now. So if you see something that we're doing and you're not sure why we're doing it, just copy it. Because honestly, we've tested everything that you can possibly imagine. If we're doing it, it's for a good reason. So don't try to change anything. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Copy what's working and, go from there. And of course, as a disclaimer, our results aren't remotely typical. If you're doing this yourself, there's no guarantee that what you see is what you're going to get. It's just the way it is. So a confession, like with most things, and this is a part of our disclaimer, our system doesn't work for everybody every single time, but we come pretty damn close. So I'm happy about that.
And Francesco, to briefly interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead.
You said a couple of things. A Facebook pixel, which is going to be important for us to understand on the retargeting and so forth. It's just an HTML code that Facebook generates. They can then put on the page so that Facebook knows that somebody hit that page. Okay. Exactly. And so, and that's an important thing to understand from the standpoint of tracking and from the standpoint of retargeting. Once you have your, Facebook has given you that pixel and you put it on the page, that means that somebody who clicked on the ad that you can then show ads to again. But it also means, go back to what you said a minute ago, Francesco, is a lot of what gets Facebook to work is that Facebook has this built-in artificial intelligence that they're continuing to improve. And the way they're getting compensated is they're getting compensated by sending you traffic. So they're honing and honing and honing and honing and honing as your ads are running to get it where they're pointing ads at you that are more, or pointing your ads at people who are more likely to respond and not pointing them at people who are less likely to respond as you go.
Exactly. So I think the main power of Facebook is the fact that it's so smart, right? Because they have all of this data on all of us. It's kind of scary, really. They have all of these data points on us psychographically, demographically, and they keep all of this data, hidden under wraps. So whenever we click, let's say I click on an ad today, it's going to take note of who exactly I am, what kind of person I am, what I like, what I don't like, what kind of person I am, where I live, my income. It has all of these data points, and it's working all the time. So a lot of the times when we're talking with new clients, we're talking about targeting. But the truth of the matter is that a lot of the targeting that we do is actually completely useless in terms of when you compare it to what Facebook's targeting is behind the scenes that we have no control over. So it's really, really important that you do install a pixel, because that pixel is kind of like your little robot that goes out and seeks the same people that are already visiting your landing page, and they're opting in and they're booking online, or whatever the case may be. So it's really, really important that you get to know where your pixels are in your funnel and how that compares to, what it actually gives Facebook, the data that it needs to go out and find those same people. So whenever we're talking about targeting, people are always saying, well, can we target by income? Can we target based on this? Can we target based on that? The truth of the matter is that it pales in comparison to what Facebook's doing behind the scenes, because they don't give you the full access of everything that they're able to target. I think it's unethical at that point. But it's incredible how many data points they're going after. And a lot of the times, and they're working on this algorithm all the time, it's in their best interest to make this algorithm as great as possible, right? Because the more results you're going to get, the more money you're going to spend with them. And, it's a positive feedback loop that they want to get into. So it's their incentive to get you better leads and get you results, because, you're going to spend more money with them. So they're constantly improving on this algorithm behind the scenes. And we have no idea what's going on. Nobody does. But so it's really, really important. Like you said, it's important for tracking and important for retargeting. So you need to know, and you need to install those pixels right away.
Absolutely.
All right. So without further ado, here are the goods. So this is a simple funnel. It's really, really simple. I mean, there are some complexities behind the scenes. I'm not going to make it sound there aren't, but it's really, really simple on the face value. So the simple funnel and I'm going to show you actually a funnel that we've been doing for one of our clients. We've kind of blanked out some of the most important parts because we wanted to keep their privacy. But this is one of the ads that's working out fantastic for one of our clients right now. He's part of our student group. He's probably on the call right now. So basically, it's a very simple ad. It's a very, very simple process. So it says, attention, city name, because we want to call out to the city immediately. You want to let people know that this is local, that this is within their area, that this is relevant to them. Because a lot of the times when you're scrolling through Facebook, you don't know what's local and what's not. It could be, you're probably scrolling and you're thinking this could be a school out in, wherever the heck it may be. It's really, really important that you call out to the specific city and you make it, really clear that this is for them in their area. So it says new to, whatever, karate or whatever. We are giving 50 first-time visitors 30 days of classes absolutely free. Now, the reason that we want to do a free offer, and we do paid offers as well, it's really important that you keep the barrier low so people don't have a big hurdle. It's because when they're scrolling on Facebook, you just completely, if they're reading your ad now, you completely took them out of the psychological space they were in. And this is going to apply to retargeting as well. You want to call out to wherever that person is mentally within that moment. So our retargeting ads are going to differ a little from this ad, just because we're going to be calling out to where they are mentally. So because they just, they were scrolling through, they were looking at pictures of their neighbor's kid, they were looking at pictures of cats, we completely took them out of the mental space that they were in. So we want to keep it a low barrier offer just so that they don't have to do much thinking. We don't want them to do much thinking. We want it to be an impulse thing. We want to bring them into our sphere slowly but surely. So we're going to say we're giving 50 first-time visitors 30 days of classes absolutely free. If you want to learn a stunningly effective martial arts so you can defend yourself in real-life situations, blah, 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 just some benefit copy, hit on the benefits of whatever you're teaching, and then we include a link. And the picture here, it's actually blanked out, but there's actually the city name that we've actually designed onto this image. And there's also little tweaks that you can do to the image as well that makes it pop a bit more and improves your conversion rates. Maybe we can get into that a little bit later if we have the time. So again, it's reiterating the offer, and we have the headline here that just reiterates the offer. You want to make it absolutely clear what they're clicking on and why they're going to be clicking on it, and you also want to call out to that location again within the copy here and here possibly if you can as well. So as you can see, this is an ad that's been working out fantastic over the last 30 days. So this is something that I wanted to show you.
I had a question there. I'm not sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
Last time when you did the call, I thought you guys had said that putting text on the ad you kind of suggested not putting text on the ad, and that Facebook was
Right.
proportionally downgrading that, and it wasn't even clear how much they would downgrade it. Because it used to be they would either reject it or not reject it, and then now they were downgrading it. And I've noticed some of your ads are having some text on it. Can you speak to that a little bit of why it's okay to do that?
Okay. Yes, I can. Yeah. So the main thing that Facebook penalizes you for is if you have a lot of text. So more text than they recommend. So if it's over 20% of the ad image, so we kind of calculate these things. We're nerds. We calculate these things, and we have a specific guideline that we want to follow. So this band here that you see, this amount of text, is actually perfectly within the guidelines, and they will not penalize you for it. Just if you keep a little band at the bottom right there, so that it doesn't cover most of the ad. Most of the ad image is an image. It's really important that you keep it within those guidelines. Something like this, I think, is perfect. If in a perfect world, I wouldn't include any text at all. But just because it really, you kind of have to sacrifice a bit of that, of the guidelines that Facebook gives you to boost that conversion rate, to boost.
It's a balance, right? So
right, it's a balance, exactly. So
what it used to be, as you mentioned, is that if you had more than 20% of the text in the image, they would just like, nope, too much text, rejected, try again. And then they removed that rule, so you can actually have as much text as you want, but they'll penalize you for it, and they'll increase your CPM, meaning that you're going to pay more to get your ads to just get displayed at all. So when it's still below 20%, they're usually more okay with it, and they won't penalize you that much. But even this, they'll see it's text and image, and that does impact things. But what we've also noticed is that putting this text on the image also increases engagement. So it's kind of a balance. Yeah, it's a little trade-off, but we've been testing these little banners over the past 2 months, I would say.
Yeah, 2 months.
And we've been getting better results with them. So
you guys are testing those, and you've measured the trade-off. Okay, that clarifies it.
Yeah. So I think what's really important, and this is true for any marketing platform, you have to calculate your trade-offs. And this is why we're testing things constantly. It's because we could have just said, okay, no text on the image. It's better because they're going to penalize you for it. And it's really important that sometimes you break the rules and you test things that might not work. And sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does. But when it does, it pays off. So in this case, it paid off, and it usually does. 90%, 98% of the time, it usually trades off to have the text in the image, because that text in the image calls out to people and lets them know that, hey, this is local. This is exactly what the offer is. It's short. It's blunt. It helps. So continuing on. So this ad calls out to somebody, like I said, it lets them know that it's local. Lets them know, what the benefits are if they're reading into this. If they're reading into it, they want to know, what this is all about. And then, we have the ad image, of course, with the little text at the bottom. It reiterates exactly what the offer is. They click on this ad. They head over to this landing page right here. Now, we've tested a dozen, different variations of landing pages. This one is the one that works more often than not. It gets great conversion rates. We're usually used to seeing somewhere in the range of 20 to 30 to 40% in terms of conversion rates from people who click over to the landing page. It's really, really simple. And I think one more thing I think that we've tested, and I think it's increased conversions, is if you can have this image that's here and this image that's on the background be the same, it helps conversions. Because one of the main things that people worry about, and something that I think is within the psychology of people, is they want to know that what they clicked on is where they're at now. So if they can see that, hey, this is the same ad, this is the same image, it kind of sparks that relevance. It's kind of like an unbroken chain. They can kind of see what the progression is. It's really, really important. I suggest it. If you can test out having the same image in the ad as in the landing page, we've been testing it out recently. It works out great. So again, this reiterates the offer. One more thing that I would add that's not on this landing page is I would call out to the location once again. So I would put somewhere here the city name or the town name or whatever, just to reiterate exactly that it's local again. Something that we might want to add on this campaign if we might want to test it. So again, it's 130 days of Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, whatever the case may be, classes for free. It reiterates the offer. Click the button below to claim the special Facebook offer. Again, it's a big orange button. Orange tests better than any other color by far. The bigger the button, the more attention it gets, the more clicks it gets. The more clicks it gets, the more leads you're going to get. So make it as big as possible without making it, obnoxious. And then once they click that.
I'm sorry. I don't see the image that you're talking about. It's
the background. The background image.
I mean, all I see is his face.
You're not seeing the screen share?
Yeah, let me see.
Are you guys seeing the screen share? Or are you guys just seeing my face?
Yeah, I can see it.
It's all fine.
Okay.
Got it.
Hey, Francisco?
Yes, sir.
Click on the screen share.
We're good.
Francisco?
Yes, Mr.
So you prefer using a separate landing page rather than a Facebook lead page?
Well, we've also tested lead ads in the past as well. So you're talking about the Facebook, when you click on it, it pops up within the newsfeed. Yeah, we've been testing it recently as well. It's kind of like, when you're doing a Facebook ad campaign, you want to have a bag of tricks. So the bag of tricks is you want to have different things that you can test at any time. When we start a campaign, we go with what works. And if things are not, working or they need to be optimized, then we'll go over to stuff like lead ads and test it and see if it works. Like, for example, we're working with a client right now who, we were testing the landing page. His cost per lead was a little high. So we're testing lead ads. It's working out great for him. You always want to keep these things in your repertoire because a lot of the times you want to be testing different things anyway. And if things start to drop off, you'll want to test different things. But for me personally, I highly suggest just starting off with this, what I'm showing you, and then working your way to other things and testing those other things. Because you want to have a baseline first and before you go and test those other things. So yeah, I mean, lead ads work
so far with lead ads, I would say it's been about 50-50.
Mhm.
Like about half the time they will do better and half the time they won't. So it's worth testing for sure. But it's not going to win every time.
Yeah.
So a major difference between this and them just shoving the lead to the landing page of their main website. Moving it to the landing page of the main website didn't work nearly as well.
Right.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the things that almost everybody, when they get started, does wrong. They either just take them to their business page, which does nothing, or they are trying to get likes, which does nothing, or they just take them to their general website, which, and notice what Francesco said earlier, the congruence between what they saw and what they land on, the closer the two match, the less jarring there is. And a simple example would be as you're running an ad for kids and all of a sudden you take them to a website that shows kids, adults, cardio, kickboxing, everything else, the conversion rate's going to go way down.
Exactly. I think one of the main things to look for, and one thing when you're building any type of marketing campaign, and this doesn't only go for Facebook, it goes for everything, is trying to keep the things that you're doing relevant to whoever you're talking about on multiple different levels. So whenever you're doing an advertising like this, it's really, really important that you keep everything relevant to what they're clicking. So if I'm clicking on a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu ad and I'm going over to the landing page, I want to see Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu images on that page. I want to see stuff that calls out to exactly what I clicked on. I want it to be relevant to what I want. And that works on a psychological level as well. Like, for example, just the ad image on the background, having it on the background image, it increases conversions just because people can see that it's the same thing that they just clicked on. Because if they're taken to something completely different, it's jarring. People are on their phones. They get confused. It's the way it is. So whenever you can keep things congruent, I completely recommend that. And every time we've tested it, it's worked better. So if you can keep things relevant and keep things the same throughout the funnel, then by all means do it, because it's going to help your conversion rate. It's going to help, the cost per lead. Also, it's really, really important that, whenever we're talking about this stuff, nothing that we're talking about is set in stone. We might come up with something next week that's going to completely change everything that we're talking about here. What's really, really important though, is that you're testing different things. Now, one of the main benefits that we have is that we're working across, the 20, 30 accounts at any given time. So we have the privilege of testing different things at different times. So we have more of a privilege and more of an advantage over somebody who's just doing a single account. But it's really, really important that, and the reason we do this kind of stuff and the reason why I'm showing you this is because more often than not, this works better than anything else. But nothing is set in stone.
Again, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Back to the lead ads thing. So everybody knows what a lead ad is when it brings it up to a page where Facebook automatically fills in their name, their phone number, their email address, and they can just hit submit.
Exactly.
And it seems to me that the way to think about it is those who are really investing in and doing a good job with Facebook advertising are getting a reasonable cost per lead, but then their biggest challenge has been getting those to convert to appointment, getting those to convert to intro. When you shift to something like lead ads, what you get is, in most cases, a higher volume of lower qualified leads,
Yep.
as opposed to perhaps a lower volume of better qualified leads. And I think what we all want to kind of shift to is maybe even a higher cost per lead, but higher qualified leads in the process.
100%. Yeah. So yeah, like you just said, that's kind of the caveat of doing lead ads, right? You're going to get more leads, but they're going to be of less quality. I mean, that's kind of been the thing that we've been noticing as well. across the board, just because people, like you said, are less invested. They're less, there's no commitment in pressing submit because they haven't manually, they haven't gone to another page. They haven't clicked the button. There's no investment. There's no commitment whatsoever. So you're going to get more leads, but they're going to be less quality. So answering a question that Matt has here, are you getting good engagement with video? Does that convert? Yes, across the board, video does fantastic, especially since Facebook is favoring videos. Us as an agency, we kind of don't recommend video because, and this is going to sound bad, but a lot of the times we have a lot of hard time getting assets and stuff from clients just because they're so busy, and putting that kind of pressure on them and getting them to create videos for us, it kind of becomes a really big, deal. And when we're testing things, we like to get speed is everything. When we're testing things, we like to get things done quickly. So we kind of like to do video, and if you can do it, then by all means test it. But I'm sure Linus is going to have something to say on this as well. So yeah, would you like to add to that, Linus?
So with video, one of the interesting things you can do is you can retarget people who watched your video. So if you have a video, you can say, even if nobody actually clicked your ad, you can say, take everybody who watched 90% of this video, and I want to show an ad to just those people, which is a very interesting thing you can do. In terms of actual conversions, like directly from the video ad, there's not a huge difference. You won't necessarily get more leads or cheaper leads. You can, but not always. It's one of those things, like you can test it. It's definitely worth testing. For me, what I find interesting about video is that you can retarget those viewers, which can down the line improve your return on investment.
Yeah. And another thing I'd like to add to that is that when you're doing videos, right? Like for example, if we're doing an image ad, it's really easy for us to test a bunch of things at once, right? If you're doing video, it's a lot harder to test different things, right? Because you got to produce another video, you got to record the thing, you got to edit it, you got to do things. It's hard to test multiple different things. And when we're doing campaigns, we want to set it off with 3, 4, 5 images in the beginning, just so we can get a good ground on what is working. And we want to go in already testing things. Video makes that very hard because if you're going to test multiple videos, you got to edit those and all the stuff that comes with that. So yeah, I mean, video works out great. Just test it, if you can.
Is the limit of 20% text still apply to video like it does to stills?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so I mean, with video, what you can also test, and this is a built-in function with Facebook, and I don't know if Linus is going to have anything to say about this, but maybe he might disagree with me. What you can also do is do a slideshow video. So you can have multiple different images, and you can just upload those to Facebook, and Facebook will create a video for you. I don't know what the conversion rate on that is going to be, just because it's not that pretty. It's not that engaging just looking at a slideshow of images, but it's something that you can definitely test pretty easily and just, slap them all into a slideshow, and Facebook will create a video for you. It'll just be an image slideshow. That's something that you guys can test as well.
And not to rush you, but we want to make sure we get into the how to upload the email list and make sure we get into
so the actual technical stuff we're going to show you by retargeting. That's going to take probably all about 10 minutes because it's very simple.
Yeah, so we're almost there actually. So yeah, just hang in there, guys. So yeah, once they click that button, this box pops up, and it's just very simple. It's just a call to action. Enter your first name, your last name, your email address, and your phone number. Now on our campaigns, when somebody puts all this information in, they click activate my free pass. That lead automatically gets sent over to our clients, and in a nice email, and it also gets sent into our follow-up system. So our follow-up system includes emails and text messages, which have been working out like gangbusters lately. And what I would recommend with text message follow-up is that your first text needs to look like a real text from somebody, because that'll up so when we do send out an automatic follow-up text, it looks like it's a real text from somebody. So just to give you guys a little behind the scenes look at what our first text looks like, just to give you a rough idea, it's kind of like, hey, this is, if it would be Stephen Oliver, hey, this is Stephen Oliver here. I'm just checking in. Thanks for signing up. I'm just checking in. Would you be able to make it to a class in the next 7 days? But it looks like it's a real text from Stephen. So when somebody gets that text, it's like, hey, like this is a real person. Like I'm going to respond to him. So now they just went from, being in a completely autonomous little landing page thing where they're not dealing with anybody to now they're dealing with an actual human being. So it's a very natural follow-up, right? Like they're becoming more and more committed to the fact that they've just signed up for this thing. And you can open a dialogue with these people. And that's extremely powerful because now they're talking to a real person. The show-up rates will go up because now you're conversing with them, and you can get a really good idea of where they're at, what they're looking for, and whatnot. So we really recommend that first text that you send out to be a human-like text, because that's going to increase your response rate like crazy in our opinion. And if anybody can speak to that, then, great. So yeah, so once they go, they fill out this information, we send them to a thank you page. Now the thank you page is built very, very specifically. So we actually put a bonus offer on the thank you page. So in most of our clients' cases, it's either a free uniform, a free t-shirt, or something like that. And we will, we'll incentivize them to call you guys up. So instead of you having to call up, and
we actually don't have it on this page.
We actually So this client didn't want us to put a bonus offer, but in most of our clients' cases, we will have a bonus offer on that page with a timer. It'll say, "Hey, call us," and we'll throw in a free T-shirt or something once you come in for your free first appointment. So that really improves the call-in rate, and people will pick up the phone and call. And because if you give them the choice of not having the T-shirt or having the T-shirt, more often than not, people will choose having it if they can get it. So that improves response rates, and having the timer on there like we do improves the the urgency as well. So people will call in as well. So that's basically the basics of it. I mean, there's more complicated stuff that we go into, like the actual retargeting campaigns, which we're about to go into, the online booking, the targeting that goes into it, the optimization, the split testing, and all of that kind of stuff. So yeah. So moving on from that, we're using funnels just like this to generate leads day in and day out. All the results you've seen are very similar to the funnel that we just went over, with then tens of thousands of dollars in ad spend. And of course, now we're going to go into the retargeting. Awesome. Linus, if you want to show off your screen here, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. If you want to show your screen and just go into the custom audiences and the retargeting, then we'll go into that right now.
Just so we don't leave anything like unanswered, does anybody have questions about what we just went over?
Good idea.
Okay, all good.
Well, and maybe I'll throw in something. Everything that you're talking about, just for everybody's clarification, this is all buying ads on to targeted lists, geographically targeted lists, and so forth. This is not about you have your business page and you're posting a bunch of stuff hoping that somebody's going to see it, right?
Right, exactly.
And what there's the general worldview perception is that social media is about getting, going out and blasting your message everywhere and getting free traffic. The reality is that all that we care about is human beings within a 3 or 5 mile radius who might have some interest in doing what we're doing, who have the money to pay us what we want to be paid for doing it. And all of the trying to create free content, and especially like on Facebook, even if you create a whole bunch of free posts, mostly people who have liked your pages aren't going to see it. You still have to pay Facebook to distribute it. So people, I think, mix that up. They think that somehow Facebook and all of the other social media platforms, but this is the 800-pound gorilla, that somehow it's really good for getting your message out for free, which about the only thing you get for free is a time suck on your end, posting stuff that nobody sees.
Yeah, I mean, just to add to that, I think free stuff works, 1% of the time. I really don't care about that, though, because if it's not reproducible like it is with paid, meaning that you can do it day in and day out, reproducible, and it's stable, and you know what's coming in and you know what's going out, like we do, like there's no way of measuring things with free traffic. There's no way of optimizing things. I mean, there is, but it's like really willy-nilly, and there's no way of improving on stuff. With paid, I know exactly what's going on a per impression level. I know exactly what's happening. So yeah, I mean, we can definitely, you can definitely do free, but I highly recommend against it. And nothing is ever free. I mean, when you factor in your time, when you factor in everything, it's going to end up costing you anyway. So yeah, as long as it's paid and it's reproducible and you can do it day in and day out, then that's all we worry about.
Well, there are things that we talk about that can be done for free, but the biggest problem that we end up with is folks end up sitting at their computer for 2 hours a day with a time suck rather than spending 30 minutes a week on it. So we want to avoid the time suck of, the laptop sucks you into the void.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the thing that we want to do at our agency here, and I think everybody wants to do, even if they're doing these Facebook campaigns themselves, is they want to have an autopilot system that brings them leads, and then they don't have to worry about it. It's just kind of like it's running in the background. They're getting leads day in and day out, and they're dealing with that stuff. So I mean, I think that's the power of it.
Anyway, I didn't mean to interrupt, but so go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Linus. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and pass it over to you.
All right. Let's see here. All right, share screen. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I'm in Facebook here right now, and I guess I'll just quickly walk you guys through the two ways that we can do retargeting. So if you have a Facebook ads account, you want to go up in the menu here on the top left, and you want to go over to audiences, and you click that, and that's going to bring you here. And I'm reloading the same page I was just on. Okay, so this is a pretty fresh ad account, so there's nothing in here right now. So what you want to do is just create a custom audience. You're going to have some options here. The two that we're looking for most of the time is either customer file, or actually most of the time it's going to be website traffic. The only time you really want to upload a customer file is if you're getting a lot of traffic from other sources. If you're doing live events, if you're doing, even if you're doing something like Google AdWords, or you're doing, especially offline sources, any other traffic source that's not Facebook, and you're getting significant volume, and you have those people on a list, you can upload those.
Yeah.
If you're getting...
And just for your clarification, the vast majority of our members are getting a flood of traffic from that type stuff.
Okay.
And Chris, a minute ago, he got 93 name, address, phone number, emails last Friday. So he could have that in an Excel file or in a text file and upload the email list here, and now he can add them to his Facebook advertising.
Right, right.
What else you can do also, and to add to that, is you can put a pixel on your website, like your normal website. You know, if you have traffic that's coming onto your website by other sources, like, you know, organic stuff, or you have, you know, Google search results, or whatever the case may be, you can put a pixel on that and build a retargeting campaign from the traffic that you're getting there. I mean, if they're interested on your website, you can retarget them on Facebook and try to capture them back there.
Exactly. So on and I'll clarify a little bit and you guys add to this as you want. The customer file list doesn't have to be people who are actually your students. It's a list of email addresses or a list of phone numbers. Generally, the email is going to get a better match rate from Facebook than a phone number, right? So again, Chris's example of 93 people come through his pipeline. Another example, we go to the Star Wars movie and get 850 leads. You can upload that file and then be specifically showing, if the file's big enough, be showing ads specifically to that group, or adding that group to who you're adding it to. The website traffic, your general website, not just the landing page you're using for Facebook, but it should have the Facebook pixel. It should also have the HTML code for Google retargeting, and that way, if somebody comes to a birthday party and they go Google you and look you up and they click on it, now you're following them around with Facebook ads. Follow it? If you don't mind, click on customer file and show them how to do that, and then click on website traffic so we have a sense.
Absolutely. So click on customer file, and we're here, add customers from your own file, or copy and paste data. Or if you're collecting data in MailChimp, you can import directly from MailChimp, which I don't think most of your students are. So let's just go with this one. So it's going to prompt you basically to upload a file. So you're going to need a spreadsheet of some sort that you can upload in here.
Yeah.
I actually have one that I prepared. This is from one of our clients. And I don't know how you guys are collecting this data, if it's in Infusionsoft, if it's whatever the case might be. Just you should be able to like just export your list of people. So we're actually using software called Autopilot, and this is what I've downloaded this from.
Yeah, and oftentimes it might just be you typed in the leads into an Excel spreadsheet, or you have
could be done.
Weber or something like that, and then you just export it and then you import it here.
Right, and then you just name it whatever you want. Test.
What's key is that the on top here that the headers match these numbers.
Yep. It's gonna ask you to match them up. So if we click next, it's going to upload. So see, now here we got all the columns in the spreadsheet, right? So We're going to upload this. So this is first name. So we're going to match this to first name. Last name, we match it to last name. So this is a phone number, email. Yep. And that's just about it. Upload and create. And it's uploading. And it's really that simple.
And this form has been updated since I used it last, actually. But what you're doing is you're giving them email, phone number, name, and then they're going and looking for that person. And it'll take a while, but
Right. So it's updating audience. Yeah.
Yeah. Depending upon the quality of the list and the and so forth. But I've had it where I uploaded 1,000 and have found 600 or 700 of them. So that's not a bad match rate.
Right. So I think this list was about 1,200.
Yeah.
And Master Oliver, I think it'd be fair to say in a lot of these situations that it's important to understand the concepts and ideas, because Facebook sometimes changes their interface, just like you just mentioned. They change, that they change the interface. So for our guys, if you go online, in a month or something, and the interface is different, and you don't panic. Just try to read through what they say. And I mean, Facebook does want to be helpful, and they try to do the best job they can. AdWords just changed their interface quite a bit. It looks completely different. And so, don't panic. It's usually pretty much the same thing. You just got to look around a little bit. So don't be surprised if those interfaces change a little bit and evolve.
Yeah, and another thing I would add to that is that, you can usually find a YouTube video or something that shows you exactly how to do this stuff in case it changes. There's always a YouTube video, sometimes published by Facebook themselves. They, like you just said, they want to be as helpful as possible. They want to help, they want to help you make money so they can make money. So, it's not a cryptic thing where, nobody knows exactly what to do or whatever. The information is easily available if you want to go on YouTube or whatnot.
It is the ironic contrast between Facebook and Google, because Google always seems to make it as difficult as possible to figure out how to give them money.
Yeah.
If we go to add names to this list now in the future, is it as simple as starting the list?
You would. So that's one of the drawbacks of doing it this way, because obviously, if you get new people, Facebook, that doesn't automatically port into Facebook. So you will have to re-upload the list.
Yeah, and in practical terms, you can have an unlimited number of lists. So you could have the list from back to school nights. You could have the list from Star Wars movie promotions. You could have all those lists, and then you're going to aggregate those lists to do the advertising as opposed to just advertise to one of them.
One thing I would make sure that you guys do if you're going to upload custom audiences is to label everything correctly, because you want to be able to know exactly which campaigns are with which custom audiences. Because if you're just aggregating everything together, you have no idea what's working and what's not. So one of the main important parts is that you label everything correctly, so you have a good idea of where this custom audience is from. And so that when you build a campaign around it, you know exactly, okay, well, this custom audience is doing great. This one's not doing as great. So you can go in and, you have a great idea of what's going to work in the future. Again, you want to be able to reproduce results, and labeling and tracking everything is a very key part of that.
You bet. Any questions on that? That's pretty straightforward as long as you know how to get there.
Yeah, Linus, do you want to go over again exactly how you got to this page?
If you're anywhere in your Facebook account, you can just click the menu on the top, you hover over all tools, and then you just go to audiences, and that is it. Also, with what you mentioned, Stephen, if you're getting all kinds of leads from, if you're doing different offline events, you're doing birthday parties, you're doing, school events, and you have a separate list for all of them, if you want to get really sneaky with it, you can actually target ads specifically to those people. Let's say you do a birthday party, you can upload a list and market only to those people. And it's like, I hope you enjoy the birthday party last weekend. If you want to try 7 days of karate for free, click here, and you can call out those people specifically.
Isn't there a minimum number though before it will actually run the ads? A minimum number?
Nope, not with this kind of list. I know people who, I know some people who have been looking for jobs and things like that, and they found the HR director's email and uploaded it into Facebook, and they run ads to just that person. So there's all kinds of crazy things you can do.
Well, that's different than our understanding before, Master Oliver. We thought
they keep evolving. They keep evolving.
They might have changed it now. I'm not sure. So I'm not
No,
super
there
up to date on just that issue.
There used to be a minimum, and there isn't anymore. They've kind of lifted that. You can market to as little a list as I think as possible. So yeah, we like Lena just said, we know somebody who was actually marketing to one person, which is kind of creepy.
Yeah, but that's exciting. That's exciting possibility there.
Well, it certainly is an exciting possibility if you had a birthday party with 32 kids. You know, so you can have a personalized little ad running to everybody who was at the birthday party, or if you met them at the movie theater or something like that. The more personal you get, I mean, it starts to get a little bit labor intensive, but the better it's going to work.
Yeah, I mean, for us, it's kind of like you have to trade.
Yeah, I mean, you can have a photo of the kids at the birthday party. We always have them sign something. Photo.
Yeah, you can even have a video of you guys at the birthday party, like, and then you kind of cut it in, and you're like, hey, I saw you at the birthday party. Would you like to come in for 7 days? And you're talking into a camera. There's a video ad going out. You know, that's kind of cool because they're going to think that they're looking at a video of the party when really it's an ad.
Exactly. Yeah. And as we're running out of time here, how about if we go back and show everybody how to add the little pixel or create the pixel so that they know how to do the retargeting piece?
So for the pixel, it's again very simple. You go here, all tools, pixel. And it is loading here. Okay. So I'm just going to go in here. This is actually Frankie's dad's construction company because we didn't want to show any of our clients. But you just go set up pixel. If you've never done a pixel before, it's going to prompt you with a little box here, create your pixel. It takes 30 seconds, and you just click like next, until you get it. Copy and paste the code. And you get this little code here. You just click it to copy it. And you want to put that in between the head tags of your pages.
Yeah.
And that is it.
Just to not toot our own horn here, but we actually, my dad actually signed his first $9,000 contract based on this Facebook campaign. We spent about $100. So we're even successful in construction.
Yeah, so that's it for the pixel, really. Not much more to it. If you guys, I don't know if you need more than that.
Yeah, it's really, really simple because I think Steven just talked about this. Like Google kind of complicates things for you guys. Facebook makes it really user-friendly. I think it's really, really self-explanatory. If you guys know a bit about how to work with the code and stuff, you know, if you guys need our help on any of this stuff, like let's say you need our help, feel free to message us. We'll give you a hand if you need, you know, for anybody in this group. If you really...
So where you want to paste it, so somebody's asking in the comments, is in between the head tags on every single page where you're going to be sending traffic, really. I'm not sure if I want to show you a specific example of what that looks like, because everybody's website is going to be on different platforms. So that's going to look different for everybody. But like Frankie said, if you need help with it, just let us know. And
most of our guys need to know they just send it to whoever's doing their webpage for them.
Exactly.
And they'll know where to post it.
Right.
And if they don't know where to post it, they shouldn't be doing their webpage for them. So
I have a quick question also.
Yeah, sure.
As Keith, good to see you, Frank.
Hey, Keith.
So can you just have one pixel per account, or can you have multiple pixels?
Just one.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah. Facebook knows the difference between different campaigns you're running and what they're doing based on that. Right?
Yeah, because Facebook's pixel is really smart, and then you can say like, okay, well the pixel is going to be installed throughout your entire site, and then you can kind of say like, okay, well somebody who's visited this page, somebody who's visited that page, somebody who's visited this page, and you can do that based on that, and then the pixel will know exactly what page is where. So when you install it, it's going to know exactly what everything is on your website. It's kind of freaky, but yeah, all you really need is one pixel.
Right. So Jim is asking, how do we create a unique pixel? And all you need to do is in your Facebook account, you go in the menu here and you go to pixels, and it's going to prompt you. There's going to be a big screen in the middle that says create your first pixel, or create your pixel, and you just click about 3 buttons and it takes 30 seconds and you're done. And they're going to give you this little code.
Yeah.
That you can copy and paste.
Yeah. And then you can just pass that over to your webmaster, whoever handles your page. You say, hey, install this, in between the head tags, and they'll know what to do with that.
And for everybody on the call who's already working with us, you don't have to worry about any of this stuff. We're doing it for you.
Yeah. And if you need help, if you're not one of our clients, just let us know. We'll help you.
Yeah. And maybe just to clarify for everybody, when you put the pixel on each page, what you could then do if you wanted to get more sophisticated is you could target ads for people who've already opted in but haven't yet made an appointment to
Exactly.
have something that gives incentive, countdown, one thing or another to make an appointment. And it is important to cross the platforms, and oversimplifying, but basically think of there's two platforms. There's Google and there's Facebook, right? And so if I have the Google code on any landing page that I'm using for Facebook and on my website, and I have the Facebook code on any landing pages I'm using, including my website, what I can do then is I can retarget on Google for traffic from Facebook. I can retrack traffic on Facebook for people who ended up on my website, and they could end up on your website by Googling you, by Google AdWords. They can end up on your Facebook, on your website because they came to a birthday party or saw you at a live event, checked you out online, and then they end up with that code that is tracking them, right? So
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And one more thing I'd like to add there is that when you're creating ads for these retargeting audiences, so if you're retargeting an audience, it's important that you use the principle of omniscience. So you want to appear like you know exactly what's going on, right? Because you want to call out to wherever they are in terms of your funnel and where they are in your sphere. So if they came to a birthday party or they were on Google or whatever the case may be, you want to say, like, let's say they went on your website, right? Let's say they're coming from your website. You're retargeting the people that are from your website. You want to say, hey, you visited www.blah-blah-blah.com. You were checking us out. You might be interested in this, is that, and the other. You want to call out to exactly where they're coming from, because then people will pay more attention to you because you know about them. You're kind of speaking to whatever they're from, right? And if let's say like Steven just said, when we do our campaigns for our clients, when we're retargeting based on where they're at in the different points of the funnel. We're calling out to them exactly on where they are. If they opted in but they didn't book online, we're like, hey, you signed up for this, but you didn't book. Come on in and book. Like we're basically calling out to exactly where they are in the funnel. That's really, really important.
Yeah. And just to, clarify for everybody, I've got a text from one of our other members. They've been advertising this for 4 months, 30 to 40 leads on average per month, enrolling 10 or 15 on average per month, spending $2,000. Typically, they're doing $600 down, and then, God, I'm not sure what the monthly is, but you get the idea. Is if you spend $2,000, you get 10 enrollments. That's $200 per enrollment. If you're getting $500 or $600 down, you made money. If I can ever get it where I can do an enrollment that costs what they paid in the down payment, I'm happy. So if I'm doubling or tripling now, and again, keep in mind the concept. If I on average enroll students at $90 a month, and they drop out on average after 6 months, that's only $400 or $500 per student. Very hard to justify spending any money to get that person. But if I'm enrolling a student who's going to be paying $500 down, $200 a month, and they stay with me an average of 18 months, now I've got $4,100. So if I spend $400, $500, $600 to get them, $400 to get 4,000 is a 10-to-1 return on investment. I'm fine. And so when we start talking about pricing strategies, about the average revenue per student, about lifetime value, it's really important to understand those things, because it dramatically impacts the way that you think about your marketing in all ways. And again, Master Smith, go back all the way to what you said at the beginning. There really is no such thing as a free lunch. So, when we were always in the multi-school environment. So if I go out and I do an event for 10 hours, there's payroll costs, there's human beings associated with that. So it becomes do I want to spend labor or do I want to spend money to get the same results? And usually our decision is we're doing 10, 15, 20 different things and making sure we're getting a positive return on investment on all of them. Let's we're pretty far into our timeline here. Does anybody have any questions of these guys, or any questions specifically on anything we've covered so far?
Yeah, while people have questions, I'd like to also add a couple things to what you just said. So the main importance, I think, in terms of these campaigns also, and just marketing in general, is that when people are looking at their ROI on a campaign, it's also important to note that when you're getting people in through the door, there's word of mouth that takes place. There's organic kind of growth that happens there because, people refer people word of mouth. So even if, you're getting that person, it's not only important to look at lifetime customer value, but you got to factor in all the referrals and the word of mouth and all that stuff that comes in from that. And not only that, but when you're doing a Facebook campaign, I don't know if Linus, do you want to show off? Like we can show my dad's campaign. Nobody really cares. If you'd like to show my dad's campaign, I'd just like to show you the impressions that we've gotten on a simple campaign, like a very simple local campaign that we've been doing. I just want to show you guys the impressions. And because we come from direct response, marketing backgrounds, we don't really take effect into like the branding and the exposure or whatever, because we kind of put a less, value on that. But it's also worth to note that this is kind of like a byproduct of doing campaigns like this. Like, for example, we spent $300 and on this campaign, my dad's already, made a bunch of money on this campaign. And mind you, this is in the construction industry, so the tickets are very, very big. So if you see here, there's 8,000 people that have seen his ad, that have seen his company, that have seen the exposure. He's gotten calls from people that didn't respond to the ad, but they just know about him now just from the ad because he got 8,000 people to see the ad in a very specific location. So that's huge. That's humongous because now you're getting that exposure, you're getting people to get to know you. And that's a kind of like a byproduct of running these campaigns. So while you're getting leads and you're doing that direct response kind of stuff, you got to also take into account that you're getting, 8,000 people for $300, which is peanuts. 8,000 people to see your brand and to see your ad and to see, your to get exposed to. So that's another thing that I think, a lot of people just gloss over, which I think is important. But any questions from anybody?
Yeah, and maybe to add to that is we're in the same principle. We want direct response, we want trackable ratios and so forth. But Facebook and TV, I think, have always been very similar, where something like Valpak or Money Mailer, and I can go through the list, have a different impact. Where, in the past when I was on TV and now when I'm on Facebook, as well as TV, is you get that sense of everybody you talk to has seen you and knows who you are. So the branding impact can be pretty powerful from Facebook, right? And again, so the reason why bigger operations, I always recommend that they be on TV, because not only the response rates were high, cost per lead was low, conversion rates were challenging, but the positive impact in the community was dramatic. And this is the same way. You're hitting so many people so often repetitiously that they start to really get a sense of who you are and know who you are automatically. Guys, we didn't really get to much time on the conversions, but we've hit this thoroughly, I think, and we'll spend more time on it. For everybody who wasn't at the weekend event, I'll remind you that we spent an incredible amount of time on Saturday and an incredible amount of time on Sunday working on really tuning and tweaking the intro enrollment process. And I was going to share some landing pages that we've developed recently as well to try to get a higher percentage on the phone. So I will just share that in the Facebook group just as an FYI, so you guys get a little bit of follow-up. Anybody who's not working with these guys, there's your contact information. So we will repost that in the Facebook group as well. But northedge.co.apply, if you guys aren't working with it with Northedge already, I'd suggest you chat with them and so forth. But again, Chris, as you're a brand newbie here, and we have a couple of others that are on the lower end of the spectrum, everybody who's 25, 30, 40,000 a month, you should have this as one of your key components. If you're not in that category, this may be a little premature, but it's worth having it in the back of your mind and ready to move on it when you get there.
Yeah, so if you guys want to visit the URL, there's a little short application that I ask everybody to fill out. And then from there, we'll hop on a call and you'll be talking to me and we can see if we can actually help you. There's no sales tactics or anything. You'll just be talking to me. I'm not a salesman by trade. So, yeah, it'll be kind of like a non-pressure kind of thing. We're just going to talk and see if I can actually help you and we can get one of these campaigns rolling for you. Yeah, and if anybody needs anything, if anybody needs help and you're not a client, feel free to reach out. We're here to help. You know, we really appreciate everybody in the group. So if you need anything, you need help, you have a question or whatever, feel free to reach out, either myself or Linus. So you can reach me out at my email, which is francesco@northedge.co. You can reach me there, or you can reach Linus at linus@northedge.co, and we'll be willing to help you out with anything you need. That's not a problem.
Yeah. Does anybody have any last questions before we call it a day? And I'll remind you. Go ahead, Jimmy.
To do a video, they work pretty well on the ad. I had someone do a very professional video, but it's about 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. So I was wondering what you recommend for the video length. Yeah, so for video length, in our experience, the shorter the better. But if you can get within that 1 to 2 minute range, that's beautiful. I think that's perfect. The shorter the better, the pithier the better. It really depends also on the content in the video. So what does that video look like? It is all action-based things. They're very short transitions. Okay. They are. They're all demonstrations and constant moving. It's a nice.
I would just test the whole thing.
Okay.
Just put it up there and see what happens.
Okay. Yeah. All board breaking and people flying around doing spinning kicks, all that stuff.
Yeah, I've seen really long videos work. Like I've seen 8-minute videos work because it's just really engaging and they catch the eye immediately and they just suck people in. So it can absolutely work.
Oh, good. Okay, that's one of those.
And again, the purpose of the video is to get them to click on the link. So, the most important thing is that the first minute be engaging, right? Yep. So, they may not watch the entire thing. On the other hand, we have experience on the free side of live casting a 2-hour event. So those are things we can talk about more as we go as well. I was going to remind everybody we have the Quick Start meeting on Thursday, same time, same place, same link. The last meeting I think went real well. I would everybody who was there, I would love to have photos, videos, more importantly, marketing plans, notes that we can share. If you can post that in the Facebook group, that'd be great. I have already posted the full MP3 audio recordings. Lynn did a really good job of doing professional video on it. So Merrick, you made it here. Have you gotten a video from Lynn yet? No? Okay. So we might follow up with Lynn. As soon as you get the video, we'll get that up on the member site. And again, any questions, feel free to go into the Facebook group and we'll follow up on our Thursday Quick Start call. And I believe the first meeting we have in September, we're going to have Lee Meltier join us live as well. So that'll be fun.
100%.
Also, Master Oliver,
Go
just
ahead.
to remind everybody, on Friday, at the live meeting was all marketing from A to Z, all the free stuff to the cost stuff, but make sure you review that. And then Saturday was the enrollment procedures, how to enroll and increase that. So when you get the videos, it gives you a whole replay of that weekend.
That's exactly right. But and again, the audio MP3 I already posted on the Facebook group. But as soon as Merrick gets those videos from Lynn, we'll get those up in the member site.
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, thank you guys. Hopefully they all got some value there on how to implement that stuff, and we'll go from there.
100%. Yeah, we just added all of our contact info in the chat. So if anybody needs us, we're free to chat.
Fantastic.
All right.
And I'll post in the Facebook, repost in the Facebook group as well.
All right, awesome. All right, thank you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
That tree. Oh, that's cool.